Welcome to the Water Wisdom Podcast, where we get inspired by the movers and shakers of the world, those catalyzing change just like water.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Water Wisdom Podcast. I have some extra special guests today. Two of my dearest, most amazing friends, Sal and Andrea Morningstar. So everyone take a deep breath, come fully present with us because the codes are going to be flowing. Grab your glass of water. We know that water is a conduit. It's the best conduit. So grab your water and let the codes be amplified for you as we dive into a beautiful conversation around the ascension journey and mission around divine union. This is going to be an extra special, extra unique conversation before because I've never had this kind of conversation and I've never done it on my personal Facebook page. So what I'm going to do here, if you look in the comments, I'm going to pop a link to my private Facebook group. If you want to come into my group and see all of my podcasts, I do it weekly. You're welcome to come into the group. But I was like, we can't keep this extra delicious energy from anyone. Everyone deserves a little taste of the beautiful morning stars. So here we are. Hello, good morning, Andrea and Sal. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us. We are wonderful and so happy to be here.
Oh, thank you for saying yes. So what I'd love to do is introduce the two of these beautiful, beautiful human beings. And then we're going to dive into a conversation. Not exactly sure where we're going to go, but that's okay. We know we're going to go full alien because that's always the funnest way to be. And then hang to the end because I will show you the beautiful water frequency that I created by engaging with their work. So, all right, where do we begin? Well, I met Sal online. He was my vibe coach. This is what I call him, my vibe coach. A couple years ago. Hasn't it been like a couple years, Sal? I think it's been at least a couple years since we connected online.
I think 2020. So
oh my gosh,
getting close to 4 years now.
Time flies when you're having fun. Okay, so I don't exactly remember how we came into connection, but I know it was online. And I remember seeing you, Sal, and feeling an instant connection, like a brotherly connection, as if perhaps you'd been my brother before. And so I really leaned into your energy because every time you came across my feed, I felt like I was looking at a version of myself, really. You know, I felt like you lifted me up the way that I intend to lift others up. So I really kept leaning into your energy. And then swiftly, I saw this massive transformation in your message, in your energy, and your frequency. And then here comes Andrea. And I don't even know, like, I want to hear the story because I don't even know, like, where Andrea came from. I didn't really witness those pieces coming together. All I saw was the boom, the explosion when the two of you really came together online. And it was like instant recognition of the massive, amazing mission and beauty, highest love, highest truth, highest joy that you all bring to the collective as a gift. And so I would love to hear a little bit from both of you. I know you all have your own unique, beautiful ascension, awakening, opening stories, but I would love to hear the story about how you all met. And then we'll just kind of take it from there. We'll see where that leads us.
Do you want to get started?
I know it's a big question.
So we actually met in the higher dimensions. It's like how we like to say it. We were both in Mexico on an ayahuasca retreat. And amongst the group that was felt really purgy that night, there was much wailing and a lot going on for a lot of people. But then there was Andrea, and we just realized we were having like the most amazing time. And we're like, wow, there's a connection here. And so that was the beginning of it. But yeah, really coming together has really only accelerated our growth, for sure. I'm glad that you reflected that it was like a big bang, like out of nowhere. Because it feels like that.
It does. But it also felt like that when we met.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So something that I wanted to mention too before we went into this is, Andrea, I know that you were in the realm of healthcare, right?
Yeah.
You were what was your title? Were you like a holistic doctor, naturopathic?
Was a naturopathic medical doctor, and I was practicing in Arizona when we met.
Beautiful. And then Sal, what was your like 3D gig?
I was a professional musician.
Okay, beautiful. And then when you all came together, how would you now describe what you do?
Right. So we're going full alien, and I just want to speak to it from the beginning, if I may. So going online was something that for me was really a trust and a surrender into a highest calling of my soul. It was something that was undeniable. It was something that I really knew was my highest truth and that I felt called to do out of all of the experiences that I had, all of the miracles I had experienced, whether in practice with my patients, as I mentioned, I was licensed in Arizona, or just in life in general, because I always, everywhere I went, I noticed that there was a certain type of creation, configuration that was formed in the reality around me. And so when I answered that inner call of highest truth, that was my path, I just went all in. I just went both feet in. I closed down my medical practice and I went online full time. And at first I did that on my own. And eventually we joined forces in our business online. But the way that it really started was that full trust and full surrender. And what I noticed as we continue to create together, because we always have had this higher dimensional connection that has rippled and translated into our creations in human form, because that's what ascension is, right? Being the fullest embodiment of the divine in human form. I noticed that there was no separation between any and everything that I created and that we created together and the business. And the business really exploded when we came together in that harmonic co-creation, where everything that we were experiencing behind the scenes, we really brought forward all out, full alien, making no exception with the highest frequency standards.
Wow. So delicious. I love it. Okay. May I ask you to describe a little bit more about you all coming together? So, Sal, you said that you met at an ayahuasca experience. And would you mind to describe how the coming together of your relationship, a little bit about what that process looked like, and then go into like the rapid fire movement of your business? Just give us a little outline. That's what I want. I want you to take me from meeting now, okay? And, just let it flow in the simplest way, most intuitive way that comes through. But I'm asking this because I want people to feel, it's not even about the words. Like, I want people to feel the activation of you all coming together. And oh gosh, witnessing your timeline has been like so fun and so magical. And I really want people to have a taste of that.
So, as you know, there is only now. And so, like, we make the choice to come together in every moment. And really, it's just fractals of fractals of fractals of that. And we can look back and call it, it happens through time. But even in these moments, like, we're still refining, it's much more on a higher level, but like how we come together and how we co-create. And so, the 3D boy meets girl story, right? That, that's a tale as old as time. But like, what was different was when we decided everything in our reality is only a reflection of us, and really taking responsibility for our experience. And so, closing down Andrea's medical practice was kind of like that major leap that, like, we're doing this, and this is like, we're jumping off the ledge. Like, there is no backup plan. And it is quite magical the way that, like, when you trust yourself and when you go all in, you are supported, because there is only all there is. And so just to be met with, I mean, it was going through the eye of the needle. It was like one of our first moments of really going through the eye of the needle. And that was a choice that we did together, that, right, because we're in this 3D world, it requires action, right? That's the language of the 3D. But, like, it's frequency first, right? It's intention, and then it's action. And things have not been the same ever since. Okay, I'll let you speak now.
Or even, oh, that's perfect. That's really well stated. And even on a daily basis, when I look back at 2 weeks ago or a week ago, just, it's a constant state of leaning in, surrendering, trusting, acting, transforming, expanding, being higher and deeper levels of ecstasy, but not by attempting to create anything outside of ourselves, but actually leaning into the truth of who we are and allowing for whatever is outside to be a physical realization and expression of that. There's only one of us in the room. We are the all that is. We are the divine. And at the same time, as it goes in the higher realms, there's this paradox of individuation, where fractals of the all that is in human form, in individuated blueprints. But the truth is, there is only one of us in the room, and we are the room itself. We're not in reality, we are reality itself. And so as we continue to change ourselves and as we continue to expand, our realities continue to change and to expand.
Okay, so the 3D question that I asked you, I love how you always take it deeper, right? Right? Like, you're right. When you talk about that story, the tale as old as time, that we can tell that story over and over again, but it is about, like you say, the fractal, which essentially, the way that I see it, is a picture, right? How many different angles can we experience something from?
Yes.
And so I want to acknowledge the way in which you answered that question. That was very different from any traditional answer that you would get from that question. I like it. I felt it.
Yeah.
I felt it. And this is your work, right? We'll call it play. This is your play. This is what you do. You take people deeper. And the way that you answer that question really makes me want to take it to this concept of being the only one in the room and relating that to the 3D desire for someone to have a divine union, because we see this a lot, right? We see this idea, this way of being in relationship that typically is very codependent. We're always reaching outside of ourselves to fulfill a need that truly cannot be fulfilled by anyone but self. And as we choose frequency in every choice point, we shift our own beingness in the now, which then will create a reflection in our reality that is that divine union, because it's always us first.
Yes.
Okay. And so, where can we go with this? What's coming through for you around this? Do you want me to ask a specific question? Because it's kind of fun to ask the question and get your answer that's like next realm, next level.
So there was a soul recognition when we met each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think a lot about timelines and potentiality and, you know, destiny and highest timeline, and looking back on it, we can draw a line that says, oh, yep, this led to this, that led to this, and so then we're here, right? But like, really, like, it feels like we're just following along, like it's like it's been written, like the story's already been written and we're just going along. Sometimes it really feels like that. Other times it feels like we've got these really big choices to make and it's really important.
Feels very real. Yeah.
And so what, you know, could things have gone any differently? It's like, maybe, yeah, maybe not. Like, but from our perspective right now, it's just like looking at a room with colors on the wall and being like, okay, yeah, this is what the room looks like.
Yeah. I love that explanation and that description. And to know that we are right at that intersection of destiny and free will. So there is something in the higher realms that calls us forward into creation. And we choose how we experience that creation, but also in that choice, we change the creation itself, right? There is an ultimate destiny, a supreme destiny, if you will, which is the end of the game, which is the full exploration of the themes that we've come forward to explore as the creator beings that we are. One way of looking at what we're doing here together is what I like to call a game of creation. We're high-level athletes in the game of creation. And so what happens is there is a set of codes and a set of frequencies that we are exploring as individuated fractals and aspects of the all that is. And as we go along, we can choose our frequency standards and we can choose the frequencies with which we'll engage and create. And that changes our experience and again, changes the experience itself. And so it's such an extraordinary question. I love really diving into it and contemplation. You know, is it destiny? Is it free will? And I found that it's that intersection of both. There is that surrender into what already is and has always been and will always be because it's beyond time. And there is also the free will of, but in what way do I choose to actually experience myself, and with what frequencies and codes am I operating with here? And all options are valid. All options are divinity. All options are the all that is. There is no right or wrong in that sense.
All options are valid. All options are divinity. Wow. When we can really feel and embody that, everything changes, doesn't it?
Yes.
You can actually experience the now in its fullness.
Yes.
I love that. So, so beautiful. Let's talk about being the only one in the room.
Yes.
This is an interesting conversation that I have on a one-on-one basis with people sometimes. And I find that it can be extremely triggering to people. And I do work with a lot of people who are newly awakening as well. So I remember when I first heard this, I was like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? You mean I did all this? What? But then you get to flip it and it gets to become very empowering, right? That, oh, okay, I did this, which means that I can do something different. I can make different choices. The power is in my hands. I would like for you to share, please, some tangible practices that we can gift to people around really embodying and leaning into the realization that you are the only one in the room. Does that question make sense?
Yeah. I mean, how do we apply it to what we feel like is real life?
Yeah.
And it's the return to ultimate reality, right? It's the return home, and it's something that we know, even if at first, depending on where we've been and the set of codes and frequencies that we've operated with, it can be triggering. But again, as you stated, it can also be very liberating. And so, looking into ways where we find that relief and that liberation, and then finding that neutrality within ourselves, I would say would be the first step for anyone who is feeling a little triggered, or, what about the extreme cases? What about the exceptions, right? In those beginning stages, these are really common questions to ask. And I would highly recommend having a practice of going within, into the silence within, and really sitting with any emotions that arise, certainly with any of the difficult questions that arise, because I know for me on my path, there were certain things that felt like I could not accept, I could not lean into, like those were just hard no's, And so to really actually have the courage within myself to lean in and to actually embrace the totality of whatever darkness or polarity was arising, and to acknowledge that as a part of me and acknowledge that as a part of divinity has really accelerated the dissolving of any of the challenges that I have encountered along the way. And so it's certainly not about bypassing anything, certainly not about justifying anything or trying to find a silver lining. It's more so about being fully present, being completely in the now with whatever it is that arises, because it's here for a reason, to be able to read those states and frequencies for ourselves and develop that mastery, and then to really surrender and merge with a what I call a higher dimensional perspective as to who we are. And so we don't force that merging, we just become it. We engage parts of ourselves that ultimately allow us to rest there, to rest back at home within us.
That is beautiful. What I found for myself is when I set the intention to take the expanded perspective, see the higher perspective, trust that there is a divine plan within it all, I start to see from a higher perspective where I'm actually given visions or dreams. And so know that as you choose to lay the brick, as you choose to go through a different door, that the guidance comes. It's like going through the eye of the needle, like Sal said before. I'll give you a specific example. I had a dream about a year before the fires occurred in Hawaii. I had no idea that that is what it was connected to until the fire actually occurred. And intuitively, I made the connection after going back to an old reel that I had done because I was divinely led to do so, that in the dream, I was actually taken above the earth and I was witnessing the entire earth was on fire. But it didn't feel like fear. It didn't feel like sabotage. It didn't feel like any of those things. I saw angels surrounding the earth and holding the earth. And I saw the angel take the earth into their hand and just, lovingly hold it and then blow on it like one of those, the little flowers that you blow on, the daisies, or I don't know what they're called right now, but blow on it, dandelion, and it drifted away, and the angel smiled like, okay, it's good. The load is lightening, right? Like the load is lifting, the burden is moving, transmuting. And I was like, wow, okay, I made that connection. I'm like, wow, as I choose my frequency every second, it's a second to second choice, right? That I get to see the broader perspective, and it will be shown to you. If you choose that, it will be shown to you. It must, because that's what you will now access. And then you realize too that I'm uplifting humanity by choosing my frequency first. Right? So I feel this in my body right now. That's what you will find when you tap into the energy of these two beautiful human beings. They're not humans. They're just playing right now, aren't we all? there is like a physical opening that occurs for you in engaging with them. My whole body feels soft right now having this conversation with you. Oh, so much is shifting right now. It's so freaking cool. Oh, okay. Let me take a breath and ground myself here.
Yeah. I remember, I think you shared a little bit about that. And I think I remember if you made a post about it or something like that. As I hear you tell the story now, it kind of reminds me of that we're on the new earth now. And that like the earth has moved through a new frequency pattern. It's literally vibrating at a different pattern of creation. And so sky's the limit, but no, like really the momentum of creation is starting to become next level. Like we're what we'll accomplish in the next 2, 3, 5 years is going to be completely unimaginable.
Has never been seen before.
Yeah.
And it feels really exciting for us because we really get to expand on that game of creation. There are no limits. And it's not that we really had limits before, it's just that we were playing with and operating with a different band of frequencies. Now the training wheels are off, the lid is off, if you will. And so we'll notice that as we start to really embody these frequencies, higher levels of choice points become available. What seemed to be impossible becomes possible just like that. Isn't that the definition of miracles? And what if miracles are actually our natural state of being? And what if we get to experience miracles in every now? What if everything is actually a blessing? And we now get to have the eyes to see.
Oh, I love that. That feels so good. I have absolutely felt the shift. There are nights I lay in bed and just watch the movement. Just watch the movement. And I'm here to remind everyone that none of this is outside of you. Maybe you're already experiencing this. That really, when you do make that leap, for me, that's when everything really amplified. And I know that you all experienced that too. You know, it's when you sold your business, Andrea. I mean, talk about full trust. You know, when I handed my badge to my mean boss, who I so appreciate now, and he was a miracle in my life. Thank you, Fred. I'm here now, partly thanks to you. I love you so much. You know, that was, you know, single mom, 3 kids. I was like, adios, bye, Felicia. And then I got in my car and bawled my eyes out like, what the F did I just do? That was so irresponsible. It was divine. It was divine. It is how I am here now. And we get to lean into these choice points, right? It's going to get louder and louder and louder. You lean into that divine nudge with full trust and do the intentional work around that, you know, like clearing your body, do the breath work, take a freaking cold shower. It will change your life to support your body to hold that frequency, right? Yes. And it will shift very rapidly for you. Speaking of like cold showers, and I know you all are a fan of the cold plunge, and I'm all about giving people tangible tools that they can use to support on this journey. Now, I've noticed that the timelines are speeding up. The energy is so big. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I have to do the breath work and hit the cold. Otherwise, I just got sick last week. It wasn't a huge illness, but I could tell that I was not keeping up with the frequency. So what are the practices that you all lean into to support the rapid expansion that's going on for you all?
Well, we fully welcome and enjoy when our bodies feel like they're getting sick, because especially if it's a virus, right? Because some non-alive DNA getting into our bodies and literally changing our DNA, right? We're evolving, like we're expanding, we can hold more light. And so whenever we get ill, we're like, oh, okay, oftentimes it's ascension symptoms. Obviously, if you need medical care, please go seek. But we get excited, right? And so then there's no charge around it, because people who are scared to get sick are constantly thinking about getting sick, right? It's a frequency in their field. They are connected to the idea of getting sick. So they're most likely going to get sick. So you neutralize the charge by appreciating it, essentially bringing it to love. And then obviously sunlight, fresh air, whole foods, and a cold plunge.
All of those things that we already really intuitively know, right? Just do the things. Do the things. Yeah.
Yes. And I love this. We've had these conversations about viruses, and it feels very much such a fractal and reflection of, if we think of this whole reality as a simulation, we're here operating with codes, and we are able to upgrade our codes, right? So the viruses would come in and have this beautiful effect where we have an opportunity to actually lean in and to actually move through whatever is arising for us. And so in terms of practices, exactly all of those things. And then for any practices that are, correct for the people that are watching, see if you can take it a step further, whatever is already working for you, and really leaning in and listening to what your body may be communicating at any given time. For me, it's been a miraculous process to discover, even though I was in healthcare and I was supporting others to be healthy, but there's this whole new level of being in my body that has unlocked from the inside out, where I've gotten to experience truly this divinity in human form. I'm more connected, I'm stronger, I'm happier. I experienced the physical changes just as quickly as I experienced the reality changes. And that is something that I didn't know was possible before, to change so rapidly physically.
Amazing. I love the reminder around embracing the virus, embracing what is coming through. And doesn't that allow you to have a completely different experience with illness than you've ever had before, where you're not in a place of fear? So thank you for bringing that through as a reminder, because that is a very, very important piece. When I started to feel sick, it started in my sinuses. And the first thing I always think is, okay, like, what's the spiritual meaning of this? That's always my first kind of leaning into, is what is the spiritual meaning? And I know that this is connected to throat chakra and third eye. And I was feeling those upgrades. So it made sense. And, in the thick of it, it was kind of like, really? Like, what is going on here? And you just get to breathe and soften, right?
Yes.
You just get to continually breathe and soften. Breathe and soften. Be there for it.
Right.
Be there for your body.
Ah.
Take the rest.
Right. One of the things that I'm feeling as I am hearing you speak about this is the level of love that has gotten integrated even higher in the field. And that's also what I noticed. It's that we always have an opportunity to go at higher octaves of love and love for ourselves too. Because sometimes when we are in this mission, we have this big vision for the world. We can at times be so focused on the world out there. We know there's only one of us in the room and we are the reality. But at times, we are focusing on our clients, we're focusing on our work, all the focus is going out. And we forget that the highest good of all includes us. And there is always a higher level of self-love that we can unlock. There is always a level of showering ourselves even more with the love that we actually are. It's part of the paradox, because we already are love. But what we're doing is opening our own receptivity to experience the love that we already are. And then, of course, that overflows to the world. But it starts with us being at the center of it, at the center of our own fields of love.
I feel that. That is beautiful. Thank you. Let's talk about self-love in terms of wealth.
Yes.
Yeah. Something that I remember you saying is inviting, wealth, currency, money in to be a authentic expression of self. Really viewing money and wealth, money. I'm going to keep saying that word. I love money and money loves me. It's so interesting. The one trick pony, as you refer to it, this matrix, these ideas, these codes that we've been swimming in for so long around money. And I'm not going to say what they are because everybody knows what they are. They've been there, done that, played that game. And I love embodying the newness, the knowing that money gets to be an authentic expression of self, and that a great form of self-love is allowing yourself to hold more of that.
Yes.
It's important work. It's liberating for self. And then we get to allow that to overflow to others. And I bring this up because I find this also to be something that can be very triggering to people, especially when they're first working on their money story. It's like all that rage, some rage comes through, really, right? Because this has been a huge way in which that we have been suppressed as a collective for so long. And this is a very important part of our mission work as mission souls. We are all mission souls, to be part of the rewriting of that code, of that, template that exists, that we get to be the ones to flip it within and allow that reflection to come back to us in the form of wealth beyond the beyond, limitless.
Yes.
Oftentimes, the phrase, I hope you get everything you deserve, right, isn't necessarily experienced as a positive phrase, right? But it's like, it goes to reflect just how deep the codes go. And it's like, do you feel like you deserve this? I hope you get everything you deserve, right? So who's really telling you what you deserve? And are you believing that you deserve more? Why do you deserve more? Right? Because you are. It just is. And this goes back to the one in the room, the all that is, right? Beyond duality, beyond good and bad, right? It's this beautiful color wheel, and we get to experience poverty, we get to experience wealth. It's all a part of the experiences that we came as souls to have. And so you want a more wealthy experience, like, start now, right? As a a tool for experiencing your power as the one in the room. If you're feeling overwhelmed, or even if you're not, like, take yourself to a room, close the door, and then come into like a meditative state, but really feel the room, and make the room the only thing that really exists. This is you in the room. And now, how do you feel in this room? And if you don't like the way you feel in this room, change the room. Clean it, move books, arrange it, self-arrange, make the room something that feels good. And then you leave the room and watch how reality shifts.
I love that so much, because for me too, an expression of wealth has been through our physical creations, like how we experience ourselves in the homes we've lived, right? If you've been watching us for a while, Monica, I know you've seen us move several times. We've moved every 6 months, and we've loved it. And now we're here in this new home that we absolutely love, and we might stay a little while longer. We'll see.
7 months.
6 months has been a top limit, but because we love experiencing ourselves in different ways, right? We were at a beautiful penthouse condo at a hotel for 6 months. We held an event there. We brought our clients home, literally, in more ways than one, where we were before, and now we're having another experience. And so there is something really incredible, loving, luxurious from the inside out about having the spaces that you're in, no matter what they are, reflect that love that you are, the love that we are. And with money in particular, what I found is that once I realized what it really was as frequency, and I started being very fierce about my frequency standards. So it's highest truth, highest love for the highest good of all, no exceptions. And to really hold them fiercely in my business, hold them fiercely with wealth creation. That's when I really saw that explosion. And so, going online, closing down my medical practice, and then going into the online space for the first 6-figure months, it took a few months. I'm looking at you because I really don't remember time-wise.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 months from giving up the office.
Yeah, from 0 to 6-figure months.
Yeah.
And then from 6-figure months to 7 figures, it was 9 months, like a baby. and that was not something that I created out of trying to find the ways and figure out how to get there. I was literally just one choice point at a time, following that highest truth, following that highest love for the highest good of all, focusing on frequency first, making no exception, and creating in a way that was real and true for me. And it didn't matter how I had created before. It didn't matter to me how anybody else was doing it. That was my truth. My truth realized, and my truth became realized in finances as well. And one of the things too that I noticed, since we're speaking about self-love, is that it also took me an adjustment, because as soon as I started making money, I started giving it away, just spending it and giving it away. And I had to really, again, become very fierce and very intentional about creating wealth opportunities for all. It was not going to be just a unidirectional flow, but actually then shifting my business model, which grew so quickly, to allow for not only for it to be a positive impact for more people, because at first I worked with a very small select number of people. That's all I could do, but also to allow for wealth to be created in a way that all would rise and all would become wealthy and all would find the truth within themselves. And that path was the path of love. I deeply, profoundly associate money with love, because that is the truth of my experience.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. As you're sharing, a story that I heard came up for me. I was listening to something on YouTube that ended up being actually an advertisement, and I just kept it on because it was resonating with me. So I'm laying there just listening to it. And this woman is talking about how she went to a spiritual teacher. I don't know who he was, but that he came out on stage about to give his, presentation or speech or whatever. And he brought with him a wad of cash, and he kind of started tossing it around. And he was like, I love it. It's like, I love money. Money loves me. And he just started going on these praises about money. And what his intention was to see what stirs up within the audience. And what she was sharing is, she said, as he was doing that, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is so not right. Like, who is this man even spiritual? So all of these judgments were running through her field. And after he picked all the money up, he looked out to the audience and he said, I want you to reflect on how you felt as I was doing that. And he said, now I want you to think about, what if I brought my grandson out here by the hand and held him up and told you how much I loved him? Would you feel the same? Probably not. And that's a misconception. It all is, right? It's the all that is. And I love what you said earlier about taking it all in as a miracle. What if it's all a miracle? What if it's all divine? What if it's all perfect? It's like the beauty way. What if it's all beautiful? It really gets to shift everything in our lives. And then how does that boil down to frequency? Every second, what is my frequency? How do we choose that? Thoughts, feelings, actions, like reflecting, how am I feeling right now? And if you do divert a little bit, if like yesterday, James did something that I chose to get frustrated about, my son, and my reaction was not highest love. Now, the difference between mom now and mom then is that I'm so present that, yes, I am human. I was humaning for a minute. Okay, let me be human. But I got to step back in and come back to highest love as quickly as possible and acknowledge where I had stepped out with him, so that as he moves through his life, it's easier for him to stay and to choose his frequency wisely, right? And so the stories can make it sound complicated. When I talk about these people who are judging money, but they won't judge the grandson aspect, but it's all love. It's all love. And when you let it in as all love, and when you choose frequency second by second by second, like my standards, thank you, because you helped me with that. My standards are like way up here now, that everything changes, and not through the manifestation practice, right? Not like you don't lay down for 60 minutes to do the breath work to manifest the person or the thing. You choose second by second by second. Does this feel good? And it all gets to open up to you very fluidly.
Yes.
So I'm just inviting that in for all of us.
And it continues to, expand. We continue to become in every moment, even it's like, okay, we made money, but now it's like, now we're really working on our money mastery, really coming into, okay, how do we manage money? And so we're getting a lot into investments and like the frequency behind investments, and really learning to read the field. Like our ability to read the field is like continuing to progress. And so reading the field around investments, and yeah, it's like, are you paying attention to how you feel? Because that's number one. That's one of the codes that people have embodied for a long time, is that it doesn't matter how you feel, but it absolutely does matter how you feel.
There's data points are there for you to choose to explore or not. A lot of times we're conditioned to ignore those data points, but then we get to see them anyway in our creation. So we might want to be present to them and at least make an informed choice at that choice point that, I had a weird feeling about this, or something didn't feel quite right, or there was fear, there was sadness, and that these are not, by the way, just to clarify, these are not bad feelings. These are not even low frequency feelings, but they are non-harmonic, meaning that if we notice them, we're actually able to bring them to the higher dimensions through the leaning in and the embodiment of all options as valid, of all feelings as valid, and all of them having the framework and frequency of love behind them. And so no one needs to be afraid, and that would be hint number one, to have a feeling that they consider less desirable. You can still be operating in the higher dimensions while having challenging feelings and emotions. It's all a part of it. The all that is all that is. And so we're very much operating beyond duality here in creation.
Beautiful. The all that is all that is. I love that. I love that. Okay. So I really want to honor your time. We have about 10 minutes left. And with that time, what I would love to do is I created I like to call it like a water signature. And what I do is I simply take a little petri dish of water and I hold it as I am experiencing one of your activations or one of your offerings to the world. And so what I did for this particular water signature is I went into one of the groups, I think it was Wealth Codes, and I listened to your transmission around that, which, I experienced on a whole nother level. It's like when you do Andrea's transmissions, it's always a new experience. You can do the same one 10 times and it's always a different experience every single time, which makes sense because we're always expanding, always, evolving. And I had a lovely experience with that transmission. Like I'd never done it before. And I also set the intention that I knew that Sal was there with you, operating in the background, but not really in the background, that his presence was there. And so I just set the intention that my experience in some way flow through into the water to show us some magical representation of that. And so I'm going to pull this up. I will send these pictures to you as well. If you're listening to this, you can go to my YouTube channel, Monica Painter 11, at about 52 minutes, and you'll be able to see what I'm going to show here. So let me share my screen. I took a couple of pictures. Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to tell you. The frequency always speaks to me when I pull it out of the freezer. But I always like to ask first, you all, what do you see? What do you feel when you witness this?
The first thing I noticed was, to me, it looks like a heart shape. It looks like... And it does feel like the frequency of love embedded in a burst of creation.
I love it. What about you, Sal?
Yeah, I also noticed a heart. And it kind of reminds me of like some kind of imagery of like, like a message coming from on high from the clouds. It kind of looks like it could be a cloud, and then there's a pouring down from it.
I love it. You know what I saw? Well, what it said to me was everything and nothing, which I was like, okay, that makes sense. That feels very resonant with you all. The everything and the nothing all at once. And I see like a wedding veil. So I love to hear how, we all experience it uniquely as individuals. I'm going to zoom out here and try to show you another image. So it is actually risen out of the water as well.
Oh,
This is a side view. How cool is that?
yes.
Isn't that beautiful?
That is beautiful.
When they rise out like that, I always get like a volcano, like Lemurian vibes.
I felt the explosion.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, let's see. It gives me arrows sometimes. I'm having some tech issues here. Okay, there's another view of it rising out.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
We looked at that one. And then this is, I was feeling dragon energy in this view. I held it up to my window and took this picture. And doesn't it look like, it looks like different in the different lighting?
Mm.
Oh, so beautiful.
It's interesting because I think, was I pregnant when I did that transmission? Because I felt like our daughter was a baby dragon.
I know. And I thought of that. And I'm wondering.
I might have been. I think that's her signature too.
So beautiful. Oh my gosh. So thank you for witnessing those with me. And I will absolutely send those pictures to you. And before we go, I would love for you to share your offering to the world. How can we find you? And what do you have coming up that we can tap into?
So we've actually switched things up a bit. And so we have this container called All Access Ascension. And it's got 2 live question and answers, come on Zoom, talk with Andrea and me. And that happens twice a month. Plus, we are running programs live for All Access Ascension. So they get to come on, hear the transmission, be a part of the activation. They get to maybe ask some questions in there too. They get to request special content. And right now we're doing a 4-part series, Frequency of Love. So that's what we're doing now inside of All Access Ascension. And then after we complete the programs, we release them as recordings, on-demand recordings for purchase. And so if people are interested, there are programs available. There's actually, we just released the Magnetize Your Dream clients, 50% off for it was the 48-hour special. So another 24 hours or so. And yeah, lots of other programs available.
Mm-hmm. More experiences to come. We have the Morningstar app that is going to be launched anytime soon now. We ran a retreat late last year. We're going to run another retreat this year also at some time
And
soon.
Then there's the free Facebook group, Rise to Ascend.
Yeah. And so you get to experience whatever is your choice point in creation, wherever you feel most supported. The vision is to have all of these different entryways through which you can truly experience the work and experience that frequency right away being unlocked from the inside out through you as the all that is.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. And I have linked the website in the description here. So if you go to the website, everything that they have mentioned, you will have access to. And I would just like to say, experiencing their work personally, that it is unlike anything that you have ever dipped into. It is amazing. Next level. It really is indescribable. So I would encourage you to click the link and go into the free group where you can access and tap into the ever expanding energy that truly is highest love all the way. Very empowering. And what I would love to really impress upon everyone about the way that Andrea and Sal operate is that it truly is self-empowering. It is not a, lean into me, need me energy. It is you are the only one in the room, your frequency first. And how can I remind you? How can I illuminate to you the truth of you so that you take the wheel? And that is very different than a lot of what I see going on in the coaching world right now. So this is your opportunity. Click the link. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say before we go? Beautiful gems.
Just a big thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to be here, for this incredible co-creation presence in the now. We absolutely love having the opportunity to be present and to have such high frequency conversations. This is what our lives are all about. And it feels like having the opportunity to be here now is yet another experience of having the divine come through in creation, in physical form. It's the ecstasy, it's the love, it's the highest truth of who we are. And we are so grateful and feel so blessed. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to drink your water. Amplify those codes, y'all. All right. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to learn more about how I support all of my mission work, Kangen Water, please check the description.